I left home for a summer vacation in 1970. I had gone to one semester of college, and I was coming to Europe, and I never came back. I ended up hitchhiking from London to India. And my poor mother and father, they were quite helpless because there were no cell phones then. And I never had an address. So every month or so they'd get a letter. I'm in Afghanistan. I'm in Iran. I'm in the Himalayas living in a cave. And they just wanted me to come home. They couldn't express it. But in 1989, they came for their first trip to India to visit me. And they had a wonderful experience. It really transformed them. But we decided one day to go sightseeing. So from Mumbai, there's a place called the Gateway of India, which was built by the British. And we took a ferry to an island called Elephanta. And there are, through a forest, there's just a little dirt pathway in those days. There's some historic caves with ancient carvings in them. So we were going there. We stepped off the ferry. We were walking through the forest. Now, my mother and father are from the suburbs of Chicago. They were in their late 60s at the time. Suddenly, mosquitoes started biting them. So they looked at me and asked, "Why have you brought us here?" So I said a little prayer, and somehow or other the mosquitoes went away. But something else happened. Suddenly, a huge brown fur male monkey jumped in front of my mother. And this monkey looked real mean. His green eyes stared at my mother's eyes. Then he opened his mouth so much that all his teeth and his sharp fangs were showing. He made a sound and jumped toward my mother. She was horrified. Suburban lady from Chicago, this was really a culture shock. And he kept screaming louder and louder and louder and showing his teeth. Then he grabbed her purse. Now let me tell you something about that purse. This is 1989, before we had all of these computerized systems. Their passports, their visas, all their credit cards, all their cash, their airline tickets, my mother's jewelry, everything valuable. They were afraid to just leave it where they were staying. Everything was in that purse. The monkey was pulling the purse, and my mother pulled the purse, and the monkey pulled the purse, and then the monkey screamed and jumped right into her face. His teeth were wide open, mouth inches from her nose. And then he kicked her right in the chest with his hind legs, and my mother let go of the purse. The monkey ran away, and he climbed up a tree. My father looked at me and said, "Everything of value that we have is in that purse." And then my mother, who was really culture shocked, she said, "You brought us here. What are you going to do about this?" So I was thinking everything was going so good up until this point. And this could really disturb their experience of India. Because if you haven't seen in 1970 what Indian bureaucracy was, to get their visas and to get their credit cards and to get new passports would be days and days and days, maybe weeks of my old parents standing in lines in these offices all day. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? But the monkey was way up high in a tree, opening the purse. So I closed my eyes and prayed, because what else could I do except pray? And I opened my eyes, and I saw something. Just down the path, about a half a block away, there was a little push cart with a man who was selling fruit. So I ran up to him, and I asked him for a banana. Now, in those days, you can get like about 5 bananas. You could get a dozen bananas for a rupee in those days. He wanted 5 rupees for one banana, because he saw I was kind of desperate. But I'm a Swami, and Swamis, it's a religious act to give in charity to a Swami. So I said, I'm a sadhu, I'm a Swami, bakshish, give me charity. And he got really angry, and 5 rupees. I didn't have any money. My mother and father didn't have any money. The monkey had all our money. So sometimes in an emergency situation, sometimes even a good person can go bad. So that's what happened to me. I grabbed a banana and ran. He was totally insulted by a little Swami stealing one of his bananas. He picked up a stick and chased to beat me. And he was a faster runner than me. I was running and he was running, and he was just about to get me. And something happened. I believe it was divine intervention. Another monkey, a different monkey, jumped on his unattended little cart and started stealing his fruit. So he had much more to lose from that thief. So he left one thief to go back and fight off that other monkey. And meanwhile, I ran to the tree with my banana. And I saw our monkey. Would you like to know what he was doing? He was enthusiastically chewing on my mother's American Express credit card. And he was going to chew on everything in there. So I showed him the banana, and he kind of took a little interest. And then I threw it. And I wasn't such a good shot, which was kind of good, because he had to actually jump from the branch to catch the banana. But in the process, he dropped the purse. And the purse came to the ground, and everything fell out, and I put it back in, and I presented it to my mother. She was so happy. My father and mother started embracing me. They said, "We are so proud of you. You outsmarted a monkey. You are so intelligent." I never saw them so proud of me. And my mother, because I forget about these things, my mother gave me 10 rupees and said, "Give this to the fruit vendor." So I went and gave him 10 rupees. The fruit vendor was really happy. My mother and father were so happy. They were just so proud of their little son. And I looked up at the monkey, and he was eating the banana. He looked really happy. So I guess in your terminology, that was a win-win situation. When I next went back to America, all my relatives and friends, all they could talk about is how your parents were so proud of you, how you got the purse back. So what was a curse became a blessing. Now I'm going to come to the lesson. In so many cultures, the mind is compared to a monkey. And this monkey of the mind can really cause a lot of trouble. It jumps from one thing to another thing to another thing, very restless. And sometimes it could cause so much disturbance to ourselves and so much disturbance to others. How to actually manage the monkey of the mind? By giving it a banana. And in this sense, Bhagavad Gita tells, param dristva nivartate. By giving a higher, deeper, more meaningful experience, which gives greater pleasure, we could manage the mind. If we learn to connect to our own inherent spiritual nature, if we learn to connect to the love and the compassion that is our true nature, then through that inner peace, we're no longer living in the world desperately grasping for fleeting things to find some happiness. We're happy from within. And in everything we do, we express it. You see, everything in this world, is it negative or positive? An analogy is a knife. If a knife is in the hands of a thief, he's going to kill somebody to rob. The same knife in the hands of a surgeon is going to save somebody's life. Technology. Technology can be used by terrorists, or it could be used to spread love and peace and prosperity. It's the same technology. Money could be used to exploit, or it could be used to replenish. So what's important in our world today is values. As Victoria said, to earn with integrity, to spend with compassion, to be connected. To put some time aside every day to actually make those inner connections is really valuable. It's a great investment, an internal investment, through prayer, through meditation. In our tradition, we chant God's names, beautiful mantras, to tune in to our own inner nature, to the values that are inherent within us. And we tune in, and then through our activities, we transmit those values through whatever we do. Thank you very much.